The process for taking an idea and turning it into a physical object that you can hold and manipulate has been something that has fascinated me for years. In the past, you would need an entire factory, a lot of specialized equipment, and a huge workforce just to put together one prototype. But today, things are a little bit different. We've seen a revolution in the process it takes to build something. We've seen a revolution in how quickly we can put things together. This is all because of the invention of a new form of manufacturing, known as 3D printing. But what exactly is 3D printing? How does it work? What is the process? What are some examples of it, the benefits, and how will it revolutionize our future? We're going to be talking about all of that in today's video, so let's get started. The process to 3D print an object starts in a computer-assisted design program or a 3D modeling program. Such examples of this are that of Autodesk Inventor 360 and OneSpace. In these softwares, the user would create a 3D model of their object. Now, once they create the 3D model of their object, they will then turn this file of their object into a STL file. An STL file will then map out the surface, shape, and the position of everything so that the computer knows what exactly it is making. Using the data from the STL file, the 3D printer will know where exactly to place the filament as the filament layers on top of one another. Now, the 3D printing process that we're going to be talking about today relies on fused deposition modeling, which relies on the continuous filaments of thermoplastic materials that are flowing through the head of the 3D printer. So, as the 3D printing process begins, the filament would go through the 3D printer and out the quote-unquote head, where it is precisely layered onto itself using the data from the STL file. Then, the filaments are all fused to one another and your object is slowly created over time as layers stack on top of one another and your object begins to take shape. Now, there are several types of thermoplastic filaments that you can choose from. Such examples are that of ABS plastic, PLA plastic, or HIPS plastic, and even TP plastic. Now, 3D printing has revolutionized the innovation process. It has allowed for companies to quickly make a prototype, test it, break it, and then tweak the design and then try again. Now, what are some examples of 3D printed hardware that we can see today in the industry? The aerospace industry is a huge leader in the 3D printing market. A company known as Vector Aerospace plans on 3D printing an entire rocket from the engines to the fuel tanks to the payload fairings in about 60 days. This would allow for them to quickly and cheaply build a rocket and have a high launch cadence. Other examples of 3D printed flight hardware that we can see in the aerospace industry are that of the Super Draco and Draco engines on the SpaceX Dragon capsule. A third example we can look at is a company based in California called Rocket Lab, where it has its Electron rocket. The Electron rocket uses 9 Rutherford engines, which are all 3D printed. These engines have flown to space over 13 times and have been quite reliable. Now, 3D printing is revolutionizing history. It is revolutionizing our way of doing innovation, and it is revolutionizing our way of improving and making changes to design. 3D printing is something that almost anyone can do. You don't need a PhD or a specialized degree to do it. You just need a little bit of knowledge about 3D modeling softwares and access to a 3D printer. Once you have this, you can basically create anything, and this is where some problems are posed. Some concerns about 3D printing are the regulation, maybe the illegal production of weapons, even medications or drugs, as 3D printing can be used to create edible substances or even illegal weapons. Some of the other benefits of 3D printing are that of being able to create artificial organs. As we all may know, the line to receive an organ from a donor is quite long, and as a result, many hundreds of thousands of lives are lost every year. But what if you could change this? What if you could 3D print an organ and then quickly give it to the person without having to wait for a donor or someone of the right blood type to be able to give them their organ? This is the idea of 3D printing organs, which reduces the amount of time it takes between transplants and thus saves hundreds of thousands of lives. As 3D printing technology becomes more and more widespread and more popular, more and more people will begin to have access to this technology and begin to look at problems and begin creating physical things that can solve these problems. We will see a surge in innovative ideas and inventions in the future to come. With that being said, 3D printing is going to be very cool. The future is almost limitless, and it's almost hard not to get excited. Thank you for watching.